Two bucks from Dangan, Kevin and Jim, arrived in New York's JFK. Like many before them, they weren't too sure if they'd go home again soon or stay. They'd missed the hurling, they were dead sure of that, and the odd disco below in the hall. But day after day there was less in the way of prospective employment at all. They collected the bags from the big carousel, they sat down and Jim took the lead. He'd been talking to lads who were already here and they told him just how to proceed. They had visitors' visas that they got up in Dublin and declarations they got in the plane and their passports that never were used very much except for a team trip to Spain. Well, Jim got his stuff and he points to the queue that was lined up before Immigration. And he says to our Kevin, "You just watch what I do and stay out of all consternation. Take heed what I answer to all of the questions, and when you go to give you replies, stay close to the truth, and that way," says Jim, "we won't trip ourselves up with lies." By the time our Jim got top of the queue, he had watched a few punters get through. After checking their passport and taking their prints, their visa was next for review. The officials sometimes let the person straight through if their visas were deemed A-OK. The rest had to prove when they planned to remove themselves from the US of A. Their ticket would need the return date spelled out, and 3 months was all you could manage. Either buy one right now and get back in the queue, or back on that plane with your baggage. So Jim saunters over and hands in his papers, and tries his dead best to look cool. The guard didn't care, just gave Jim a stare and drawled, "You aware of the return flight rule?" "I am, of course," says Jim with a smile. "I was just saying the same thing to me friend there. I'm a pilot, you see, and I was thinking," says he, "there's not many of them anywhere." The guard's eyes opened wide, and from a box at his side he pulled out a neat-looking form. "That's a skill that we need in the United States. Fill this in and you'll be working the norm." So Jim toddles off to fill out the form, turning back to make sure Kevin has seen. And Kevin proceeds with his papers in hand to the same guard where Jim had just been. The same question was asked about return flight restrictions, but Kevin was now full of beans. "Sure, I might never go home. All belong to me is here, and I'm starting a job up in Queens." Well, the guard eyed our Kevin, and he couldn't make out if he was mad or just trying his luck. "And what did you work at before you came here?" he inquired with a quizzical look. "I cut turf in the bog," says Kevin, real proud. "I'm the fastest, and I never was beat. I'd lave a straight line, and no need to use twine, and you could eat your tay off the peat." The guard looked relieved. A straightforward case. This man should have stayed on the plane. "We have no bogs here. Your skill we don't need. Your journey was completely in vain." So Kevin gets back all his papers. He's bewildered and angry as hell. He'd stayed close to the truth as instructed. He should have been in there as well. But then he recovers. He's not finished yet. He points over and says, "What about him?" The guard is confused. "Sir, your friend is a pilot, and he didn't come here on a whim." Then Kevin looks square at the uniformed guard. He knew he would have to restyle it. "If I don't cut the turf in the first place," says Kev, "in the name of God, how will Jim pilot?"